Hi, welcome to Let's Talk Forex. I'm Alison, and as always, I'm joined by my colleague Chris.
Hey there, Alison. Yeah, today we're going to be talking about one of the biggest challenges for aspiring traders, for beginner traders, or maybe even experienced traders who have already seen their lifestyle change. So how do you make trading work when you already have a full-time job?
Yeah, not just how, but how to do it without burning out, without losing lots of money through rushed decisions, and also, of course, how to avoid missing big opportunities because you're not glued to the screen all day.
Back to the topic at hand, I think a lot of people have a misconception when they think about what it's like to trade with a full-time job. Because you see, having limited time does not make you a worse trader. In fact, I think it probably forces you to become a smarter trader in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it definitely does. In fact, some of the most disciplined traders we know have full-time careers and families, and everybody thinks, how do they do it? But what they do is they trade around their time constraints, and they come up with strategies that make that possible.
Yeah, exactly. So today we're going to walk through a repeatable framework from strategy selection to tool automation. So you'll be able to trade even if you just have like an hour or two a day. That's the goal here.
So how do you select a strategy? Well, the first step is looking at what fits your availability or your time, and also what fits you as a trader in terms of your mental energy and your personality. So, if you've got a job from 9 to 5, scalping the 1-minute chart is probably not a good idea because you have to be at your chart in order to do that.
Absolutely. So instead, we're going to look at three strategies that we think will work well for busy traders, or traders who just don't, as you say, have all the time to sit at the charts all day. So the first one is swing trading. And these you're going to be looking at the daily charts or the 4-hour charts. This is quite a common trading strategy. So you're going to be looking for patterns like breakouts, pullbacks, trend continuations, things like that. You want to set alerts at key technical levels. So support resistance, moving averages, Fibonacci. And so, for example, like you could buy pullbacks in a trending market, something like the NASDAQ or something, after a bounce off the 20 EMA. So you can set your stop loss and you can set your profit target before this all happens.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's end of day trading, which I think is very appropriate. Something I know I've sort of taken up at times, and this may be preferable to, for example, trading the open if you're busy at work, especially if you're busy, at a 9 to 5 job. It's pretty impossible to get to the open of sessions, depending where you are in the world, of course. So you could scan and you place your trades after the market close. And this is perfect for stock and Forex traders who may be living in Europe, but trading the US markets. So your entry, your stop loss, and your target can all be set in advance, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. It's about taking a lot of the time out of the preparation, making sure that you're prepared before you go into the market. And that's also true for the third option here. This is a little bit more high risk, but it's something that I think works well for a lot of people, which is trading around events. So things like the CPI, NFP, interest rate decisions. We've talked about this a lot frequently, but the great thing about trading news events is that you can prepare detailed trading plans before the news hits. So for example, if CPI in the US comes through higher than expected, you'll want to have a plan prepared to short the Euro USD. And you can do that in advance. And if it misses, then you'll have a plan to go long. And you can put these plans in place in preparation for whatever the outcome is.
So you pretty much, as you say, Chris, you do the analysis before, when you can, on the weekends or whenever, you can take the time to look through all the different news that's come out and then do that prep and then, set up the trades beforehand. Just one thing on that is that it's quite a difficult trading time at the moment in terms of the news. The news is all over the place and there's a lot of fear in the markets. So just be aware of what the market conditions are if you do choose to trade as trade off the news or as a fundamental trader.
So yes, another aspect of trading with a full-time job is you're going to be aware that your weekend is going to come your preparation time. So Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, or if you're looking after kids or whatever, you don't have the time. But on the weekends, you're probably going to have a little bit more time. So On the weekend, you really want to prepare for the week ahead. So you want to perform a weekly screening session, use tools like TradingView or FinViz. You want to scan the markets for breakouts, trend continuation, high momentum, high volatility, these kind of aspects. And then you want to build a watch list based around that. So filter it down to 5 or 10 charts that you would consider in play, or that ones that you would consider market opportunities. So when you set those trade plans, for each watch list, you will want to set an entry trigger. So I don't know, your entry trigger is going to be a breakout above $100. You want to set a stop loss, and then you want to set a take profit, and then you want to set alerts, of course, as well. So for price or indicator triggers.
Yeah, and remember, you don't need to trade every day. I mean, this is a very important aspect. If your alerts don't go off, then that's a win. It means that you didn't get yourself stopped out in a low quality setup. And then on the next sort of hack to get around, trading with a full-time job is to automate your trading strategy. And I think this is very important and something that a lot of traders use very effectively. So you basically want the technology to do the heavy lifting for you while you're at work, while you're parenting, or, simply on holiday. And you can use TradingView alerts. I find these very useful, even if I am able to sit at the charts. For price crossing above or below a certain level, you just get this ping, and then you know that you need to go and look at your charts again. Indicator-based alerts, I also really like these. For example, if the RSI hits oversold, it might be an alert, to check what's going on in the charts. Or volume spikes and candlestick pattern triggers are also very effective ways to, check whether you have a setup that is forming. And then also you can use a Google Calendar or any sort of, similar app. And set reminders for earnings dates. I find that very important. I know TradingView does have like a little lightning bolt that tells you, what's happening that day, and it'll kind of remind you of that. But I just find that also very important to remember, just so you can get out of your trade or readjust your trade if necessary. And also for, of course, economic events and different Fed announcements or news announcements. And especially now, with tariffs, you really want to keep an eye on what's going on in the news, and just keep your alerts there so that you're aware of what's happening in the various economic calendars. And I also find AI tools like ChatGPT extremely useful. Like if you want to look at the macro backdrop for the GBP USD, for example, it'll give you quite a good overview. Of course, you can't just go on what ChatGPT says. It often gets things wrong. So you do need to go and verify that for yourself. But at least you know what to verify. It's a much easier way than having to go through, a whole lot of different articles. It does that for you, and you can just then go and verify that those are indeed true. You could say list key earnings reports that could affect the NASDAQ this week or today, and it'll go and find those for you. It really does. It saves you hours of research. So yeah, I highly recommend using ChatGPT. But make sure that you go back and check that what it's saying is not absolute nonsense.
ChatGPT does hallucinate. So yeah, it's really important to always check its work once you've done it. But yeah, no, you're right. It takes a lot of the heavy lifting out of it. And I would also add that if you really want to go next level here, you can connect TradingView alerts to automation tools like Zapier or webhooks. And then you can send custom alerts to your phone, or you can even create draft trades for your later review, and then takes a lot of the work out of it there as well. Yeah. So, and then finally, I mean, the really important thing about trading when you've got a full-time life around you, whether it's kids or a job, is you really want to keep it low stress, and you want to keep it repeatable as part of your daily routine. As a part-time trader, you want to, as I say, check the alerts only. Don't go hunting on charts for setup. You don't have the time for that. And then it's just going to create more stress in your life if you do. You want to always evaluate any trades that come through as you normally would. Obviously, got to make sure the setup always aligns with your trading plan. When you place and adjust orders, you want to, whether it's limit orders, trailing orders, bracket orders, these are much better because they're going to reduce your screen time. And then log the trade. Keep that trading journal active. Why, how did it go? And the more you keep that trade journal active, and that fit in your trading plan, it's going to be a beneficial circle, and you're going to find that it's going to be less stress and it's going to take less time out of your life.
Yeah, and then also there's a lot of stuff that you can actually do on the weekend. They say 90% of trading is your preparation. So on the weekend, you may want to, again, screen the trades or screen for new trade ideas. Look at what the markets are doing, what news events may be coming out the following week, and set up all your alerts and your reminders. And then you want to review the trades from the last week, your wins, your losses, what worked and what didn't work, why they worked, why they didn't work. And then you can put sort of processes in place to even just improve one aspect of your trading at a time, so that by the following week you've worked on something, you've mastered it, and then you can work on the next thing for the following week. Whether you do that on demo accounts, whether you do it with very small trade sizes on your live accounts, it's very important to identify what went well, what didn't, and then create a strategy to improve it for the next week.
Absolutely. And, another thing that people need to be disabused of is that, trading part-time doesn't mean trading small, right? I know some traders who make more in 3 or 4 hours than other people, who sit in front of the charts all week. So, yeah, just be aware that you don't have to accept lower returns just because you're trading part-time.
Yeah, and don't worry about being perfect. Just be prepared. Build your system slowly, put the effort in up front. The preparation is absolutely the key for trading. And then let your tools support your trading. I know we were talking about the ORB, the opening range breakout last week. And, part of trading the ORB is setting up your filters beforehand. So it'll be about looking at the higher time frames and, looking at what's happening on the daily charts, for example, and then going down to the minutes or 5-minute charts for the execution of your trades. But you're going to be doing a lot more preparation than you will be doing in terms of your execution. So don't underestimate what preparation you can do before and how that can save you time when it gets to executing your trades.
That's right. And remember, like your edge here isn't just your strategy, it's also your discipline and your consistency and how well you manage your time and your energy. Basically, how well you reduce the stress around you in your life.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Please don't hesitate to contact us if you want any more episodes on how to swing trade or, create automation setups or risk management for busy traders. Please don't hesitate to contact us.
Yeah, exactly. Drop a message. We always like to hear from you guys. Yeah, and remember to, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and like, and we'll see you next time.